All the things we have questions about, right? When you made that, is this it, Rob? Or
Yes.
Go ahead, play this clip.
It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files.
If you were to rank top three on which ones you've made the most progress on, which ones would they be?
Definitely JFK, definitely UAP, and I'd have to say the other ones are still flushing out. The Jeffrey Epstein stuff obviously is still coming. What's interesting about that is I actually attended a witness testimony to the Oversight Committee. So it was Democrats, Republicans, the Speaker of the House was there. And we have to be careful about how we engage specifically with the witnesses right now because they have like an open lawsuit right now with one of the banks that they're suing. And so as members, there's certain congressional ethics where you can't be seen to tip the scales on investigations. And we were actually told, because at that point in time, I had asked a specific question about if they knew if intelligence agencies were involved or what foreign countries were involved. And I actually did a posting about that on my Twitter if you want to pull it up and read it. And then also too, if you just type in my Twitter on my Rep Luna account and then Epstein and then foreign intelligence, it might pop up on the search. And then also too, there was another question about if they could name names for people that were potentially being hidden from the American people so that we could subpoena them. And at that point in time, their lead attorney did answer for them, and they said that they'd be compiling a list and that they would get it to us. But I actually inquired recently, and we haven't gotten the list yet. So I think that there's a lot to unpack there. But what's also interesting, specifically pertaining to this, is that back in, I think it was like November of last year, I was dragging the senator of Illinois that blocked Marsha Blackburn's request for the Epstein flight log release. And then when I got elected, I was really, really hammering the DOJ. And then we caught
You're
wind.
saying Pam Bondi, were you coming out and say, hey?
Yeah, I was the only member of Congress.
I remember
doing it.
that.
I was
yeah.
the only member. And what was interesting is
And
right
it's a
after
tough position to take for you to do that because everybody was, so that's where you gain because some of the audience like, who's actually working on getting to the bottom of this?
Well, I was the only member of Congress doing it. And so I'm going to
Yeah.
get into how this has become politicized, which I don't agree with, right? And we'll get into that in a second. But I was the only member of Congress that was like going out there and doing this. And then in around end of February, March timeframe, I actually became aware of a whistleblower who came forward that had alleged that there was destruction of evidence under the former deputy director of the FBI as Trump was coming into office of information pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein and other classified materials. We got the name of the person that was doing it and where it was potentially happening. And I went public with it. I actually filed legislation for the SHRED Act that would actually increase the mandatory minimums for federal officials that were destroying evidence. And you can actually pull this up and pull up the Fox News article. And it actually goes into all of that. Yep. And look at the time date on that. That's March 14th.
March 14th, yeah.
So it's all of the stuff that I've done, I've been able to timestamp it and actually provide receipts to people because as soon as I announced this task force, people were like, oh, you're a part of the cover up. You know, you have declassification authority. I actually don't. The declassification authority specifically on this relies with the Department of Justice. But then it's so much deeper than that. So I actually had reported this directly to the FBI at the time and they also led up on it. And then you saw recently that they actually, I think, had gone after some people for destroying some evidence, and they found Russiagate documents in bags, burn bags. Do you remember hearing that story?
Yeah.
So that was, I think, in connection to this as well, because they were talking about destroying other evidence. But then all of a sudden, it was like a switch happened, and I don't think that the DOJ handled the rollout of the Epstein stuff as well as they should have, period, right? Like, I would have done it differently. Nonetheless, though, what I don't like is how then it was used to try to smear the president and imply that he was somehow a, molester and a part of this, Jeffrey Epstein crime syndicate, which is not true. The victims themselves have denied that. But you see these press conferences with people holding signs that say Trump is, a pedophile and all this other stuff. And that in itself is what I don't like about how the politicization of you taking victims who do deserve justice, and then they're using it for their own political game. This could have been declassified under Biden. They wouldn't even touch it.
You're right. And by the way, my argument to that when people say stuff like that, it's like, look, you think if they had anything on Trump, they would have let him run in 2024 as aggressively as
they would have
You think they
released
would have
that?
destroyed him for him to be done and never be able to get reelected to get in
2016
there?
wouldn't have happened.
And not only that, he wouldn't be as aggressive and offensive if that was going on. He wouldn't be coming out. And so I don't think that's at all the case. For me, it's a completely different angle I'm going with this, because I remember when you said this, July 24th, the deep state is stonewalling us on Epstein files, but we're breaking through. New logs come in, follow the money. This is you on Twitter, I believe. And then it continues, September 5th, new Epstein files confirmed an intelligence connection, Saudi, Russia, Israel. The end goal is justice for survivors. So this
and that was directly related to us from the victims.
Right,
attorney,
that's from a month ago. And then this week, we see the letters of Leon Black, the email exchange. I'm sure you saw that one.
I haven't.
Oh, you got to see this. So Leon Black,
Interesting.
who I'm sure you know who Leon Black is. Leon Black is, well, maybe go to the story first, Rob, so we know Leon Black is a guy